Personally, we have a very great relation with Tpay. It's not a one-time customer, it's not a two-time customer. Actually, we sometimes go work from there, so we consider it our second office, and we have a good relation. The good thing with Tpay is a magnificent result that they have been delivering inside the whole region. And most of all, what we would like to see, they are already working with Looker and Snowflake, and they will tell you exactly what will happen. Yeah, Asma, it's all yours.
Hi guys, how are you doing? Before we start, I'd like to comment on the relationship with Pegasus team, because we met like 2 years ago, and they have like a unique way to do business, because to me they're not like any other vendor, because they focus on your needs as a business and a customer first. And they try to recommend what's really right for your business and what fits with you. So I'm sure all of you guys get approached every day by Microsoft, by Amazon, by Google, by many vendors. So it's not about who is approaching you, it's about which fits with your needs. So okay, so before we start, I just want to know who is on the management role in IT management, or maybe director level or whatever, in data warehousing, technical team, data warehousing engineers, BI reporting, okay, good, sales, finance, marketing. Okay, very well. Okay, so I think I will cover most of your success, or maybe not success stories, but let me give you first a brief about myself. Okay, so I've been working with data projects for nearly 12 years. I graduated in 2017, and I started my career with testing BI projects, data warehouses, dashboards, cubes, whatever was called BI back then, I worked with. And then I started switching to a new role in development. So instead of testing these services, I started developing them. And then 2 years ago, I joined Tpay to start a new department for enabling data and analytics. Okay? So more about Tpay. We are the leading payment platform in DCB, which is direct carrier billing. Direct carrier billing is a way to enable users pay for an online service using their mobile credit. So if you are going to play PUBG, you're going to play Subway Surfer, or subscribe on Anremi, you automatically just enter your phone number and we will deduct the service fees out of your mobile credit. Okay, so Tpay has been operating in the MENA region and Asia and Africa for 5 years now. So imagine the number of decisions that we need to make every day. Imagine the number of engagements that we do for more than 35 operators, for more than 150 merchants. Imagine the number of launches we do across many regions. So when I have joined Tpay, it was still startup, but an unstoppable one, exponentially growing. But actually, the first task on my side was to help the organization shift the mindsets of the whole organization into being a data-driven company. So actually, what that means is that we need to embed the data and analytics in every single decision throughout the day, throughout the whole organization, starting from the management down to every single team member. Okay? So I know you have been listening also all day to vendor experts, but the story here is more into the customer version, what you need, what you really actually need to do. So we follow the process in the organization for this transformation. We started at the top. So we needed to onboard the management team, the investor, the owners of the company into this process. We needed to make sure that we have all the stakeholders, the business stakeholders, buy-in into this process, because without having the management approval, without having the buy-in of the management, you won't be able to do like this mindset shift. And the second step is to create a data pool, regardless the solution is, but you need to figure out what data you need to collect, what are the available data, why do you need them, and then you define like a set of use cases or your roadmap and define your tangible outcomes and KPIs. And then you need to figure out which data is going to be shared with which teams. And then you need to onboard the right data members, the data specialists that will help you with the whole life cycle of the data. Of course, this process is strictly from a business perspective, and most of you guys are on the implementation side, or you need to do some financial reporting, or you need to plan for your marketing campaigns, or you need to do a capacity planning for maybe you need to work on your infrastructure plans or budgeting activities for the next year. So this is like the business version of it, and while you define this in iterative manner, you will narrow down your selection, because we believe that technology is not the destination. I know that in all the sessions today, you have been listening to, we are the best product in data warehousing, we are the best product in data sharing, but actually it's not about the product, I'm sorry guys. It's not about the technology, but what are you going to do with the technology? What are your objectives of using such technology? Okay, so actually let me give you a bit brief about where we started from, because I started from a very complex process, but actually from a technical point of view we had many challenges, because in Tpay we process more than 35 million transactions on a daily basis. We do that using a single SQL Server database, which is pretty painful. And we use the same database for processing transactions and also fulfilling reporting needs to all of the customers I was just talking about. So with the exponential growth, we needed to be more agile. We needed to be fitting the next move of the business. We needed to separate the workloads that we have in order for the business to scale, okay? So I'm going to talk about two main examples, because these are the focus of this event today. So I'm going to focus on choosing the right data pool and choosing the right BI platform. Of course, if we go back to the business process, you need to answer for yourself if you already need a data warehouse or not, if you need the data lake or not, if you need a Hadoop cluster or not, which use cases would this or these technologies fit into. And then this will guide you through the selection process. This will make you think, oh yes, I have 80% of my use cases will be covered with this platform or not. And this is exactly what we do. So I'm not going to talk about the features of Snowflake from just a technical perspective. I'm just going to reflect which features were the key differentiator for us when we made this selection, and reflect also on the value to the business of these features. So if we take a few examples like the full separation of compute and storage, actually, Duncan, we're talking about multiple workloads and that Snowflake works virtually and you need to store the data only once. So I'm just going to ask the same questions. Who are working with data warehouses as we speak? Selecting, inserting, None? Yeah, very good. So I'm sure you guys are aware of the painful, actually the pains of sizing the data warehouse, optimizing the data warehouse, loading into the data warehouse, having a fixed time window to finish the loading every day, every week, every month, depending on your needs, rerunning all the indices, disabling foreign keys, re-enabling foreign keys, all of the painful operational work and administration that you need to do. And actually we have saved all of this in Snowflake because it actually, we're able to dump in all of the data at any time, and storage doesn't do anything related to compute because the compute is managed by a warehouse and the reporting is managed by another warehouse, and these are all virtual stuff. So the data is written only once. Sorry. The data is written only once, and we play with it as many times as we need. Also, another thing that in any data warehouse environment, you need to create multiple environments, like one for the development, one for the testing, and one for the pre-production, and another for the production. And these cost like thousands and thousands of dollars on a yearly basis. So with Snowflake, we didn't need to do any of this because the data is really saved one time and it's cloned instantly, so we don't need to do any extra work. Also, in some environments like the banking or mobile operators, they hire specific teams for administration, just for administering the data warehouses, and actually we don't need to do this at all because the administration is like, it's just limited to creating new table or giving a role to some user, not anything further. So actually another painful area in data warehousing that you need to archive the data because the data warehouse is getting bigger and bigger every day. So actually we don't need to do that as well because we save all the data on a cheap storage and we can unload any kind of data at any time. Actually, on the level of engagement and the POC itself, we actually experienced a very good engagement level from Snowflake team and also from Pegasus team because they really focus more on your business needs. What are your use cases? What are you trying to implement? They even helped with writing the test cases during the POC itself. So actually, I remember the commercial guy even created the business case presentation for me to help me with convincing my management team with Snowflake before budgeting activity. Another key differentiator is the clear pricing model because I have compared many products before I did this selection, and Snowflake's, I think it's the most obvious one. I have so Amazon's, I have so Google's, and I think it's more complex. So these are like the key differentiators of the selection that we made. And from the analytics perspective, why we chose Looker, actually, I never heard of Looker before I knew Ahmed. So when we had our first talk, we discussed many products, ClickView, Power BI, Tableau, many other vendors. And he really insisted that we take a look at Looker, and I think he was always right about this, because one of the key differentiators in Looker is in database computation. You see, all of the tools these days, they leverage on the in-memory calculation that you need to run or extract data from some source and do all of the aggregation in memory. In some environments, this is really working, this is really good, but in our case, actually we could crash any memory in any server at any point in time because we have much bigger data volume and analytics requirements than any memory at all. Or we can be paying like millions of dollars just to host the server that will have the required amount of memory. And actually, one of the coolest features in Looker is the Git integration, because I never saw it in any other tool. But in Looker, you have the development environment, and each developer has his own branch, and you develop freely in the modeling layer and finish up what you need to do, and then you just publish what you have done to production when you just make sure that the model is good to go. So this is like out-of-the-box feature that's really been very, very helpful. So another thing is also on the engagement level, the jumpstart period, because when we used Looker, Looker team assign team members to sit with you for co-development sessions. They develop with you, they teach you. It's not like a training, one-time training session or so. They just develop along with you what you need to do in order to speed up the development process and get you done with your requirements. So this is pretty cool as well. And also the online chat with the support, because whenever you're developing something and you're stuck and you need someone to guide you through, you just ask the support team, reach out and drop them the question, and they're online most of the time zone here in Egypt, so it's pretty fast. Okay, so on the level of results, actually we have it's pretty funny that we have saved like thousands of dollars from the hosting budget just by migrating all of the historical data from SQL Server to Snowflake. Our budgeting just went down, which is really an impressive step. Actually, we were able to empower our business users to create their own reports and respond faster to all of the merchants or mobile operators' inquiries. Actually, we enhanced the time to insight KPI, which is the time you take from receiving the request to the time you respond with the required insights. And also, we saved hundreds of hours for the commercial team and the technical team, because actually I know a team in Tpay who used to work on weekends preparing some Excel sheets that will help them do their job on weekdays. So no more working on weekends on spreadsheets anymore. And also, there are some complex calculations that we were not able to do before in the previous state, I mean on SQL Server. Sometimes we received requests that require us like a full week to process some data and aggregate the results and then get back to the results. And with our kind of growth and our pace, this was not acceptable anymore. So this was basically the key results of us using both Snowflake and Looker. Thank you guys for listening. It's a pleasure. Thank you, Ahmed, for inviting me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much. I know